Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about are narcissists good parents? What do you think? You think a narcissist could be a good parent? Well, we're going to get into it now. The first thing I want to ask you is, do you think the devil could be a good parent? All right. So let's get into are narcissists good parents? First of all, let me just say this, all right? Narcissists are lousy parents. Narcissists are people that should have never become parents. Because in order to be a parent, you have to have patience, you have to have understanding, you have to be selfless. But this is the exact opposite of what a narcissist is. So narcissists are lousy parents, and I'm going to give you 10 reasons why. Number one, the narcissist is very, very selfish. They come first. People ask all the time, do narcissists love their kids? And here's what I have to say to that. They may care about their kids in a very limited type of way, but they always come first. Narcissistic parents always come first. Their ego, their pride, that always comes first. And why are they shitty parents? Well, because narcissists are not fair. They're not partial people, all right? What narcissists typically do is when they have children, they will not treat their children fairly. There will always be one that's the golden child that they will favor. Narcissists favor certain children over other children, okay? The child that shows the narcissist the most attention, the most loyalty, the most flattery is the child that will be favored and will be the golden child to the narcissist, all right? And a lot of times that child could be narcissistic as well, that's playing up to a narcissistic parent for favors, money, attention, admiration, all right? So narcissists, number one, when they have children, they pick their favorites. Their favorite is going to be the one that, the one that shows them the most loyalty, the one that doesn't challenge them, the one that they could relate to the most. Another reason why narcissists are lousy parents is they have no patience. They don't want to deal with children's problems. When you raise a child, you're going to have to deal with all different kinds of hardships when you deal with the children, all right? And narcissists don't want to deal with that. They have no patience. And a lot of them will use weaponized incompetence and say, oh, I don't know how to help the kid with their homework, or I don't know how to do this. You do that. So this way, all of the responsibility goes on the other parent, and the other parent ends up having to do everything. See, when you have a child with a narcissist, you are going to be raising that kid on your own, because that narcissist is not going to be fully there for that child. A lot of narcissists will abandon their children. They don't want to deal with children because children stifle them. Narcissists can't go and have a good time and live a life and be free when they have a kid. So a lot of times they won't come get their kids, all right? They'll come up with excuses. They won't come get their kids. And they also do that too, to hurt the other parent, to take away the other parent's freedom, so the other parent can't have a life. So it's two strikes with the narcissist. Not only are they, hurting their kids, but they're also hurting the other parent. And they do this deliberately because a lot of them are angry for a divorce. And so they figure, okay, you want to get divorced? Well, guess what? Now I'm going to leave all the responsibilities to you. You're going to be the one that's going to have to raise those kids because I'm not going to be your babysitter. All right? This is what they're going to do. Now, they will have no patience with their children. They can be bossy with their children. See, narcissists don't respect their kids' boundaries either. They feel I'm the mother, I'm the father, you do what I say. And if you don't, then you will be banished. Then I won't deal with you. A narcissistic parent could leave their child for dead. That's just a fact, all right? That is just a fact. They could go the rest of their lives never talking to them again because their pride comes first. And if you ever challenge them or have them try to take accountability, Number one, they're going to blame shift on you, say that you have mental issues, say that you're crazy, and then not want to deal with you, and then pit everybody else in the family against you. This is how people get scapegoated, all right? Because they challenge the narcissist in charge, and once you cause that narcissistic injury, they're going to have such a hatred towards you. And then you're going to have the flying monkeys, the other people that are in the family that are also going to line up against you because they're in competition with you. You're a threat. They're jealous of you, all right? The other reason that narcissists are lousy parents and they suck as parents is they hate putting the work in, all right? When you deal with children, it's work. And narcissists hate work. Narcissists always take the path of least resistance. So again, when it comes to the hard things with children, like homework, having to take them places, take them to a doctor, deal with their problems. Narcissists don't want to deal with their children's problems. Have you ever gone to a narcissistic parent when you had a problem? You talk about no empathy. Number one, when you call them, they're going to act like you're bothering them. What is it? What is it? And then when you do tell them that you're having a problem, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to victim shame you and say, well, you did it to yourself because you did that, or you have bad judgment, or, you don't know what you're doing, or you make bad decisions. There is no empathy. When you have a narcissistic parent, you are completely on your own because they will have no empathy towards you and they will blame you for anything that's going, wrong in your life. Okay. They're not your support system. They don't have your back. And they don't want to be bothered. They just don't want to be bothered. They're the kind of people that have children because it's the thing to do and they want to appear like they're the perfect parent or that they have a loving family and everything. And they love to post, their kids or their grandkids on social media. But as far as putting work in and being there as part of that person's life, they don't want to be bothered. They want to live their lives and nobody bother them, okay? They want to pop out the children and then live their own life, okay? And when you have a child is a lifelong responsibility. You brought that person into this world, but with a narcissist, they feel they could do the bare minimum. Or what a lot of narcissists do that try to win over their kids is they try to, buy their kids with money. They may do nothing for their kids all year long, and then they may, send them a check for their birthday for like $100 or something like that, and then they think they're a great parent. And meanwhile, the rest of the year, they don't see them, they don't call them, they don't want anything to do with them, they don't want to be bothered when the child is sick, they don't care. But because they sent that $100 for the kid's birthday, they think they're the greatest parent in the world, all right? So they do nothing, all right? They do nothing. They leave all the responsibility to the other parent. And they don't want to put the work in. And they try to manipulate the children with money. So that's why a lot of times when you have a divorce with the narcissist could be winning over those children by giving them money or letting them do what they want to do. So, they're manipulating the children, trying to buy the children with money or gifts so that they have the loyalty of the children and the children go against you. Also, when you're dealing with a narcissistic parent, they could be in competition with you. They don't ever want you to think that you're better than them. So it could be a competition, like you could tell them about your achievements or your awards. And what a lot of narcissistic parents will do is they'll downplay it. They will, say, oh, that's good. And then they'll talk about themselves. All right. Or, they change the conversation because they don't want, the only time they want to hear about your accomplishments or anything like that is if they could use it as a reflection on them. Oh, my child graduated honors, or my child, got this award or that, so that they could post it publicly on social media and it makes them feel good that they're this great parent. But between you and the parent, they're in competition, all right? The other thing with narcissistic parents is they're very cold to their kids. Very, very cold, all right? And, like I said, they have no empathy. A child could be crying and they'll just sit there and stare at them like, like they're crazy or something like that. So they'll never ever console the child. They'll never ever have heart for the child. The other thing too is they're emotionally unavailable. Okay. This is what a lot of people don't realize. When you're dealing with a narcissistic parent, maybe you're co-parenting or maybe your parent is a narcissist, you're dealing with an emotionally unavailable person, all right? The narcissistic parent is a damaged person who probably went through their own traumas. Not that that's an excuse, mind you, okay? Because plenty of people go through trauma in their life and they don't end up becoming emotionally unavailable. But a narcissistic parent is emotionally unavailable. So they're not going to be, like I said, you're going to be alone. Anytime you have issues, you're going to be alone and they're not going to want to hear it. And they're going to shame you for any kind of problems that you have. They're going to shame you because, you know what? They don't want to deal with it. And also, when you go to a narcissistic parent with your problems, they're going to get very, very angry because then they're taking it personally, like because they're a crappy parent, you have problems. They don't ever want to think that they did anything wrong. If anything, narcissistic parents think that they were the greatest people on earth. They think they were the greatest parents on earth. That if there's a problem with their child, it's the child's fault, all right? It's automatically the child's fault because a narcissistic parent will never, ever, ever, ever take accountability. They'll never say that they're wrong, okay? And like I said before, they don't care about holding a family together. What they care about is the people in the family that praise them. So again, when they have children, they won't treat their children equally. The child that kisses up to them is the one that they will favor, that they will, give more money to, help out. The child that, challenge them is the one that they will be cold to, distant to, silent treatment to, not want to be bothered with because they're not fair, they're not partial. And, it's like when you have a narcissistic parent, you're basically walking on eggshells. You're walking on eggshells to keep the peace because you can never say anything to them. They'll try to gaslight you. They'll say, oh, you make a big deal out of everything. But it's okay for them to make a big deal of something that you do, right? Maybe you didn't call them or something like that. They'll bring up something from 5 years ago. But if you bring up something that they did, they will assassinate you with that. So when you they're lousy parents because basically, you guys, they don't have heart. When you're a parent, children need nurturing. And this is something that a narcissistic parent doesn't do. They don't nurture their children, okay? Because to nurture a child takes work. So they don't want to be bothered with consoling a child, putting time into a child, helping a child with their emotional needs or helping them with their homework or helping them when they're sick. This all takes work. And narcissistic parents are selfish. They don't want to be bothered. They want to be around for the good times, but they don't want to be around when the kid is down or having problems or needs help. That's when the narcissistic parent will shame you or abandon you, okay? And so the other thing, too, that makes them lousy parents, again, like I said before, is they'll pit sibling against sibling. And they will also be underhanded and gossip about their children if their children, challenge them. If a child challenges the narcissist, they will run a smear campaign, just like any other narcissist would run a smear campaign on you. Your narcissistic parent is going to run a smear campaign on you to everybody else in the family to make everybody think that you have mental issues or you have problems. Or you could have an enemy in the family, which could be a narcissistic sibling who's very jealous of you or threatened of you, that's pumping up that narcissistic parent against you and pumping up and manipulating everybody else in the family against you because they're jealous, they're in competition, they may be after the narcissist's money, and this is what goes down. And this is a fact, okay? This is a fact. So, never expect love from a narcissistic parent because you're just not going to get it. You have to just accept them for what they are and distance yourself from them because they're not fair. They're not partial. They blame you for everything. They gaslight you. They tell you you're insecure. They tell you you have mental issues. They tell you you're crazy. When they're the crazy one, okay? They're the crazy one, but they're being validated by the other people in the family. So narcissists work in numbers, so they automatically think they're right because your narcissistic siblings may be siding with them, or other narcissists in the family side with them because they have the power, the control, the money, and, that's why the narcissist stands strong. That narcissist is going to stand strong because there's people that are feeding that narcissist, all right? So when the narcissist is being fed by the flying monkeys, they're validating the narcissist because they need the narcissist for something. That narcissist is going to come at you strong. So it's like this. The reason that narcissistic parents are lousy parents and they suck is because they can never own when they're wrong, and that they will punish you for challenging them or trying to make them accountable. They will run into a silent treatment where they'll give you the silent, stonewall you, hang up the phone, not let you finish a sentence, then give you a silent treatment. They are running. They are cowards. They can't handle when anybody challenges them, all right? Then they'll go run to everybody else and talk badly about you, all right? Say you made a big deal of things, you have mental issues. No, you're holding them accountable, all right? The way they hold you accountable. It's okay for them to hold you accountable, but they never, ever want to be held accountable. So this is what they'll do. Or they'll rage out at you. And this is how sick they could be. They'll start yelling and screaming at you. And they bring up the argument. They'll start yelling and screaming at you, and then they'll start saying, well, I don't want to fight. And you haven't said one word, and they're the ones who are sitting there arguing at you. But then they're twisting it around saying you're fighting with them when they're the ones who are yelling and screaming and raging at you. You see how sick these people are? They're really sick in the head, all right? They're really, really sick in the head. They twist everything to their advantage. So it basically comes down to they're not fair. They're not partial. They're not there when you're down. They could leave you for dead. They control people with money or affection. They're not there for their children. They don't care if their children are hurt, all right, because they come first. They come first. The way they live comes first. And they're just horrible. These people should never, ever become parents. They should have had like their tubes tied or, had a vasectomy or something. These people that have no empathy should never, ever have become parents, all right? Because this is why we have a lot of people that are damaged walking around today. Because not all, I'm not going to say not all, but a lot of them had narcissistic parents that treated them like shit, all right? That never validated them, or they over-validated them and, praised them and made them feel entitled and felt entitled to treat other people like shit or something like that. So you have all these kind of damaged people because of poor parenting, all right? Poor parenting. And what do these people do? They go out into the world and they damage other people. They get into relationships and they damage other people and they damage their children. They're absolutely horrible. This is like the generational curse, all right? When you look at a narcissist, one of the things I want you guys to look at is look at their parents. 9 times out of 10, they had a narcissistic parent that had a bad impact on them, okay? That's just a fact. That is just a fact. Every narcissist that I could think of that when I look at their parents are, their parents are garbage. They're narcissists as well, that treated them a certain way and basically fucked them up, okay? And then they come into your life and they're going to try to fuck your life up. Sorry to get so, crude with it, but listen, I'm passionate. I say it like it is. And if you don't like it, then this isn't your podcast, okay? So, I get passionate with this because I've seen it, I've been through it, and I'm trying to make you guys aware you're not the problem. The problem is you have an emotionally unavailable, damaged parent, or you're co-parenting with somebody who's damaged and also wants to get revenge on you, and they will use the children to get revenge on you. That's why they won't come get the kids, or that's why they'll hold the kids back from you, all right? Because their vengeance comes before what's right for the children, all right? So getting back to the question at hand, are narcissists good parents? No, okay? Narcissists suck as parents. They absolutely, positively suck as parents, all right? And, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. But they'll put on a good show. They'll show the best of themselves in pictures, on social media, pretending to be the great parent, pretending to have the great family, pretending everything's all right to outsiders. But inside, there's always, when you have a narcissistic parent, there's always internal strife within the family. There is always internal strife within the family. And narcissists will divide families. They will not unite families. They don't care about uniting families. They don't care about resolution and one big loving family. Nah, they don't care about that. They couldn't give a rat's ass about that. All they care about is having the power and control. So they will never, ever succumb to somebody and take that accountability. No, they would write somebody off in their family before they ever admit to that shame or take that accountability, because their pride comes before their children and comes before anything else. So if their pride comes before their children, how could they be a good parent? How could they love their children? They don't, okay? They don't. They have gone to the dark side. They're demonic. They don't have the Holy Spirit within themselves. They are not kind. They're not about love. Narcissists are not about love. And it's like a joke when people say, did the narcissist love me? Well, the narcissist is not about love. Because look up the definition of love. Love is about patience. It's about caring. It's about kindness. It's about being selfless, okay? These are all things the narcissist is not. So how can you expect somebody that has that mindset to ever love you? They won't. They won't, you guys. And it's not a reflection on you, because you're trying to get this person to care about you, but they don't care about caring about you. They care about their fragile little ego and not feeling like they're ever submitting to you, all right? So they care about themselves more than they care about anything else, and even above the family, all right? That's why, a lot of times when you have divorce, there's always a narcissist involved, all right? Always a narcissist. Even if it's not between the two people, it could be a narcissistic in-law. There's always a narcissist somewhere in that mix, all right? And they're the ones that are stirring the pot, starting trouble, not taking the accountability. And when somebody doesn't take the accountability, there could never be resolution. And this is what you have to understand. There will never be resolution, and not with a narcissistic parent. Whether you're co-parenting with them or you're a child of a narcissistic parent, you will not have resolution with either one of them, because they can never they can never be accountable. So, they are lousy parents. And the children, they hurt their children by this. They hurt their children by this. So they put their pride above what's right or their love for their children, okay? So ask yourself, is that a good parent? No, that's not a good parent. That's a person that is a terrible parent. That's a person that shouldn't be a parent, because children are the real victims. Children are the innocent ones. They weren't asked to be brought into this world, and they're looking to their parents for love, attention, affection, nurturing. And the narcissistic parent doesn't do it because the narcissist's pride and their vengeance come first. So they won't ever say they're wrong because of their pride, and they may have a vendetta against you for even pointing out their shame just by you bringing something up to them. Even if you do it in a diligent way, that's causing a narcissistic injury, and they will make you pay for that, okay? They will make their children pay for that, or the people they co-parent with, they will make them pay for that because they are not fair, they are not partial, they are all about themselves. They are all about themselves. They're emotionally available because they're only worried about themselves, all right? They don't sacrifice for their kiddos. They give one kid more attention than the other. The kid that gives them the flattery is the kid that'll be the golden child most of the time, all right? And like I said, they're judgmental. They're critical of their children. They never validate their children. They're constantly devaluing their children. They make their children the problem. They're never the problem. Okay? So all of these things show you what kind of parent. Is that a good parent? Would you say that's a good parent? Is somebody who criticizes you, judges you, puts you down? Is that a good parent? No, that's not a good parent. That's not a good parent, because a good parent is somebody who builds a child up. That's a good parent. That's a parent that builds a healthy child, is a parent who is there for their child and builds them up and understands that, hey, we're all humans. We all have flaws. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. All right. And by showing your child that you could take accountability, will teach your child that it's okay to take accountability. But see, when you have a toxic narcissistic parent, they're teaching their child not to take accountability by either going into a silent treatment or by raging out. So they're teaching the narcissistic children will learn to become like that. They'll think that's the way you deal with your problems, is to just avoid it, deflect it by doing silent treatments or raging out at somebody, because they're not taught how to communicate correctly because of their fragile ego, and they can't deal with that, and they can't deal with the shame. So then you shouldn't be a parent, okay? Don't be a parent if you're a narcissist. But they don't care. They don't care about who they hurt. They're all about themselves, all right? So I hope that helps you guys. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast. If you're looking for confidential phone coaching, check out the link in the bio at askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. If you're confused, you don't know if you're dealing with a narcissist, you need clarity, check out that link in the bio. All my stuff is on YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast. You'll find whatever you're looking for. Check it out at the Game Exposed podcast. Do a search, for whatever issues on narcissism. You should find it there because I really put a lot of information down. TikTok is the Game Exposed. Somebody asked me about Facebook. My Facebook is the Game EXP123. You guys, I'm back on Facebook. The Game EXP123. Instagram is the Game EXP123. And have a great day, you guys.